Hello, everyone, and welcome to a special Tuesday edition of the Timeless Podcast. Now, I do apologise for this being late. West Ham happened, recording schedule glitches happened. But we're here today. I'm here with Osian. I'm here with Adam. Hello,
Hello.
boys. Hello.
Hello.
How are
Hello.
we all? Sun's out. It's glorious.
Good. It's lovely weather.
Weather is treating us
Nice.
nicely as we get
The
into
summer's coming.
summer movie season, which is going to be straight in the movie theaters and not in the sunshine. So that's great for all of us. And of course, that is the topic here today. Not really any news kicking around though, lads. There's not much going on. Like, obviously, Doctor Who, there was a trailer, but everyone else has kind of covered all of the stuff on that. There's not really much to go over, except we've got
Yeah,
titles. Yay, the titles are fine. They're fine.
they're there. It's yeah,
That's what I think of any title ever until I see the episode. Sometimes you watch the
exactly.
episode, you see the title, and you're like, oh no, it makes sense. But until I watch the episode, I can't really determine whether, whether the title's good or not. And also, titles don't really matter in Doctor Who. Like, some
No.
episodes have some weird titles, like Under the Lake, and that's a great episode. But
Yes.
Under the Lake isn't like a great title that gives you intrigue. It
No,
just
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
tells you the setting. So, titles don't really matter to me, Adam. What's your thoughts on that? Because obviously Twitter goes ablaze with thoughts and theories and opinions.
Um,
It-
the first one's
it-
pretty self the first one's pretty self-explanatory in the fact that it's basically based off the Star Beast comic, the
yeah,
first episode, which is quite nice. The second one, I think like the title wise and even I like it's almost like a secret episode. It's something that's intentionally being kept under wraps
yeah.
and it's got an odd title and it sort of gets you to theorize a bit more about what it's really about because even footage wise, we've not seen a lot. And I hope they sort of keep it that way, focus on Beat with Me, Neil Patrick Harris. Those are sort of the ones, the episodes and the giggle, which it's whatever. I'm not too worried about
No,
that
I,
final
I
title.
think
But
the
yeah, just
giggle's fine. I think the giggle's fine. Here's the thing,
Yeah.
right, with any Doctor Who episode, there are some like for example, right, Hell Bent is a better title than Heaven Sent, but Heaven Sent's a better episode.
Yes.
Like there or the Rebel Flesh is quite an intriguing title, but the episode isn't great in my opinion. Like
Yeah.
titles can be really cool, but if you're a writer and your title's great, fine. Well, yeah, cool. But it's really about the episode quality. I mean, yeah,
Exactly.
some titles can allow us to theorize, like the power of the Doctor. What does that mean? Does that mean we're going to find out more about the Doctor? Or the name of the Doctor was a good clickbait title in the sense of it was more of a trilogy. We didn't really find out the name of the Doctor, but it was still a good title because it got people talking. Similar to Wild Blue Yonder, which got a lot of people talking. And like you say,
Very
Adam, the Star
excited.
Beast is very good because it tells you what it is on the tin if you're a Doctor Who fan. But if not, you're like, oh, what is a Star Beast? What does that mean? And maybe you go do some research and then you find out about the context. So that's a good title. And the giggle, well, if it's the final of the trilogy, it should be cracking. Who cares about titles? But this to me, I'm going to give my little theory now. If the second episode is the one they're hiding, I think that might come out on the anniversary, which I know might sound weird. You think, oh, it should conclude on the anniversary. But if they're keeping the second one under wraps, maybe Russell's thought, and again, I'm not Russell T Davis, God, but I think maybe he's like, oh, let's do all the fan stuff in the second episode, so that our final episode can be a really good story with this Doctor and Donna, one final adventure that isn't weighed down by all of the cameos that all the fans would like to see within this anniversary. So he does it in the second episode, and therefore we can have one really good story, potentially with the Celestial Toymaker or whoever Neil Patrick Harris is playing. I don't know whether
Yeah.
that might be wrong, but that
Yeah.
to me just seems if you're going to put the third one on the anniversary, surely the third one would be the secret that you would know nothing about, and you'd flip them. So I just think maybe that's the way they're going about it. I mean, isn't the anniversary a Thursday this year? I don't know whether anyone's got like again. I can
yeah,
get my fucking
it is.
Yeah. There was a video I saw yesterday from it was a video that someone was interviewing just Catherine Tate from like a convention or something, and they
yeah.
asked her over these questions about the 60th. She couldn't say much, and obviously she might not know exactly when it's about to come out and what the schedule, the dates are. But she literally stated that she said no, the first one is meant to come out near at the end of November. So does that mean that it might be weekly leading up to Christmas?
Well,
I don't
that means
know.
I have to like gap them by every two
Yeah,
weeks,
actually, okay, good
that would
point. But
suck.
it could be like up to Christmas, and then obviously like whatever gap is next to for Christmas,
Yeah,
it'd be
and then
like
we
that.
get. I still forget that we're potentially getting Shooty's first episode at Christmas.
It's an odd, yeah,
I mean, I'm big. I'm all for it. If Russell's back, get that Christmas
mm,
date rolling in. I can't wait to be drunk again watching some Doctor Who whilst trying to listen to it carefully while my family couldn't give a toss. Um, but yeah, no, I think Doctor Who fans, and I say this with a lot of love, can sometimes just get really excited or really angry
Mm,
about nothing.
yeah.
Like I remember people going, "Oh, the trailer wasn't that great," and even I watched it and I went, it wasn't much," but I wasn't sat there angry at the trailer. I just went,
Yeah.
"It wasn't great." But everyone was like, they hyped it up and they showed us nothing. But also those people, right? And this is me being silly, but I don't want to be shown everything in a trailer.
Exactly.
Like
Exactly.
I remember when Avengers Endgame came out and they literally basically showed us nothing.
Yeah.
Really, like we got hints about like the new suits and a bit of the
Yeah.
time travel stuff leading, but we didn't know anything of the plot. Like, I think
Yeah.
they kept the entire third act entirely out of trailers. I think I could be wrong with that, but I think
Yeah.
they,
They only showed a bit or two. Yeah.
so overall, I think like that. It's just I think it's a weird time for Doctor Who. We're kind of in this transitional period where some people are a bit afraid to let go of the past, which is understandable, especially when it was such
Mm,
a different era to the one we're going to. And those that are really excited for this new era because they didn't like the previous one, and that causes divide. And I think it's
mm.
really a shame because right now we should just be excited for Doctor Who in the sense of it's got people talking, it's on Disney Plus, and we can't lower that. But that is such a big deal for Doctor Who to be on Disney Plus worldwide. And those people that are weirdly complaining that we don't get it on Disney Plus, guys, I don't know if
It doesn't
you're
affect us, does
being
it?
weird,
Yeah.
but you don't have to pay for iPlayer. Why are you complaining that it's on a free service to you in the UK? Like it's crazy to me. So I think like Twitter is just so crazy right now. But
Um.
the one good thing to see is that they're going to conventions, they're having good times. It seems like mostly the cast aren't getting harassed, which is good. Not that I'd expect the high majority of people to do that, but sometimes you do get some horror stories of
Yeah.
cast members being said not so nice things, having some bad interactions, and yeah, and also there was one thing where Freema Agyeman says you couldn't answer a question about whether she was in it, which is the correct. I mean, for me, the correct answer would be just say no,
Just say
which
no. Yeah.
which I think a lot of them are doing. Just being like, yeah, no, because then they're like, oh, okay, maybe they're not in it.
I
But yeah,
think I think the biggest thing as well, like you were saying about like how you don't want to know too much about the trailers. I think that if you're on Doctor Who Twitter, all these leaks are going to come through. So you're going to see that stuff. But if you're not and you're just a regular viewer, all these announcements of the stuff you see in the trailer is new. So that's probably what doesn't help with the fact that people, when that trailer came out, they were like, oh, we didn't know anything new. I mean, normal, like, people that maybe aren't on Twitter or haven't seen any of those leaks haven't seen anything. So, it's new for them.
yeah, and also
I
one
also
thing.
think
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, I also think in terms of you saying about, cast denying it, I think maybe Andrew Garfield has completely changed the game. That even when he says he's not the werewolf
Yeah,
and he's looking dead at the camera saying, I'm
exactly.
not the werewolf, well, people are
You
still like,
never
no,
know.
no, hang on. Well, hang on a minute. So there we are.
Yeah,
He's ruined it.
everyone's the werewolf now. Everyone's hounded. But no, I think the main thing as well for Doctor Who actually is that Russell has been really good, or his team. Obviously, it might not just be down to Russell. About telling us things when we need to know it because of shooting and
Mm.
people are going to be outside and that sort of stuff. And so news is consistently doing the rounds. It's rare you go through a week now without some new content being released, whether there's a cast member or a new monster that they have to show you because it's going to be on screen. Like we got Jonathan Groff 2 weeks ago, and people are still complaining we don't know enough.
Exactly, and also, but I think that I think a big part of it, and people could argue about this about if it's a good thing or not, but maybe a lot of it, like people are complaining that maybe Doctor Who's becoming too Americanized or it's coming too big. But I think this is this is what they're trying to do with this new era. They're trying to push it out there for more. Like I know it's tried to do that before the Moffat era and it succeeded. But I think with all these actors and all these influences coming in with all that, I guess yeah, money, but money will buy you things. So
Yep.
it's gonna be like that.
I will never understand. I don't know, Alan, about you, but I'll never understand as a fan of anything why you wouldn't want it to be big.
To
I'm
big
obviously
bigger, yeah.
yeah, I'm a fan of AJR, for example, which is like a relatively big band, but they've only got bigger over the past few years. And a lot of subgroup of the fans have been kind of complaining that they're popular and now their tickets cost more and now they're getting more sales. They're doing bigger shows in bigger arenas. And I'm there going, surely you want success for the things that you like, right? Like
Mm,
Yeah.
that's that bottom line. I you see that it becomes this niche thing that maybe 2 million people watch, and it slowly goes away in 5 years, or it only gets bigger, and we have it around until after we're gone. Which I know is a scary thought, but realistically, we're probably not going to see everything Doctor Who has put out. I mean, some of it's missing, so we haven't anyway. But you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I
Yeah,
get you.
and I also think like you don't want to continually think that Doctor's best days are just behind it when there's so much future in the show, and of course we're getting that with Shooty and Millie. They're bringing a whole new energy in itself, which will be very exciting to see. And of course, it's still being made in Cardiff, so there's always going to be that sort of through line and production wise in from like the previous seasons. And obviously, it's still Russell T Davies who's bigger fan, as biggest fan as any other. He's got a mindset. He's a fan. He's really wants that, and he's pushing for spin-offs as well, which is a really good thing in expanding the Who universe as it now being dubbed.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah, I think the one thing is that an argument I'll never understand is the Marvel argument, right? And I've actually met you about this also in private that I don't get the criticism of there's too much content. I don't think that makes sense. What I do think is a good argument is too much for the workers to be doing. But that is a different story. If you don't have the staff to do the work, don't put it out there. But if you have the staff, put as much content as you like. As long as it's good, people will watch it. And I don't
yeah,
like it when people go, "Oh, it's too much for me to watch." Well, then don't watch it. Oh, but I have to watch it. Well, no, you don't. Like it makes no sense to me, especially with Disney Plus, and that does have an influence on these spin-offs, I think. And any kind of platform on streaming, we pay a monthly fee, so they need to churn out monthly content. That's just how it goes. That is unfortunately what happened with Marvel. I think what we are seeing, and I could be wrong with this, but obviously Bob Iger left, a new person came in, and Bob Iger's now back. So I think we're slowly seeing them get back. I think that's why Bob Iger's put the brakes on some of the Marvel stuff. I think
yeah,
we'll slowly build back up again, but I think we need to do it the way we were doing it before because people are saying the post Endgame thing, and we spoke about Guardians on this podcast not long ago, but how good that was. I don't really understand the post Endgame arguments. That you've had some brilliant films in there,
yeah. I've had
but
some good
and I don't get
stuff.
that for Doctor Who because you get the main show and two spin-offs a year because that's what it's going to be, and Confidential, which you don't have to watch unless you're interested. That's only 3 shows and behind the scenes, right? That is not too much content. Doctor
No,
Who did that back in 2008, 2009, 2010, 2011. Like,
and
I,
also there's less episodes in there. For this, there'll be 8 episodes a season. But they probably
yeah,
be
that that
bigger
that that will
productions.
that will ramp up
But
again. I
yeah,
think that will ramp up
yeah.
again. I think Russell wanted to kind of set the
Start
groundwork.
up, yeah. That's
Yeah,
fair
and
enough.
I don't know about you, Adam, but I see the episode count going up a bit. Obviously, shorter series are kind of the thing right now, but Doctor Who's a bit different, and there are used to being more episodes a season.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
I think 10 is a good count. Like I think that obviously it was great back in the day when it was 12 and all that, but I think nowadays
I
I'm
think
not
it
sure.
and
depends
it
what
also
you want
depends
to.
how
I
long the
think it
episodes
depends.
are.
I think it depends what you
Yeah.
want to do. I think if you're doing two-parters and one-parters, the 13 was actually good because it allowed you
Yes.
to kind of do a couple two parts, a couple, one-parters. I also like the idea of something like a flux every now and then, only to kind of change it up a little bit. So, say you want to do
Mm.
one series where it's all kind of continual. I'm not against that either. Keep everything fresh. I think that's something that Russell will do quite well. Is learn how to pivot, and I think we could see a lot of different series with different directors. Therefore, it looks different. And I'm sure, like, you have to look at our last 3 Doctors, guys, excluding David Tennant's 14 briefly, okay? We've had Peter Capaldi, who is an old man. We had Jodie Whittaker, who is a woman, and we've gone back to a young man again, but it's very different energy now,
Mm.
right? Because of how we're doing things with Ncuti Gatwa. Like, we've changed the formula over the past 3 years. 3 Doctors, we've gone from old man to young woman to young man. Like, it's entirely changed. The protagonists have changed entirely, which therefore means the target audience slightly changes. I think that's what we
Yeah.
need to realize, right? And I don't mean that entirely. I remember there was an argument back in the day with Peter Davison and Colin Baker, where I think Davison may have said on stage or something, well, now men have lost their role model because it's played by a woman. And I think Colin Baker got kind of pissed off at him and said, well, hold the phone, Peter. Men can look up to women. I think that is entirely valid. And I think the same for Shooty with anyone, right? I think that is one thing. I'm really happy that most of Doctor Who Twitter has been really positive about Shooty. And one thing I will say very briefly is I'm so happy we're getting costume changes back in
Yes.
Doctor Who. That's something that's been lacking for so long.
And I like that
I
they're putting their posting stuff like that as well. Like
Yeah.
you said, they're gonna be leaked anyways, but like they're just putting them out there just again to hype up people, and I think that's kind of what you need.
Was David and Matt the only doctors to actually change their costume? I can remember Capaldi doing it once in Thin Ice, but I
Oh
don't
no,
think
no, Capaldi had loads of costumes. Oh,
he
you mean
did.
like era wise? You mean like
Yeah, yeah,
era?
yeah, 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 yeah.
Oh right.
Because obviously Tennant did it all the time. We did it in Idiot's Lantern. He did it a few times.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, Smith did it in the Snowman, didn't he? No,
Yes,
am I
yeah,
just making that up? Yeah.
he had a top hat,
Yeah.
which I guess correlates.
And Let's Kill Hitler and stuff like that.
Yeah, when he almost dies,
Yeah.
because snog, which is something that I was still never not find hilarious. But yeah. So because I haven't spoken about Doctor Who on this show, I don't have a brief kind of catch up and chat and all that sort of stuff. But no, I'd say that hopefully, come November or whenever we get a big trailer with a date announcement, everyone's pumped, nobody's arguing, and we can all just get along.
That's
But I mean,
that.
like
That's
I
good.
think because it's really strange. Like maybe it's because I'm so neutral in this era, so that I see it now from like a neutral. But like everyone's arguing every day about something.
It's like
To me,
anything nowadays, everything. It's just I think that's where, us as a society is going,
Adam,
which
any
is a bit.
message to the Who community to make people calm down a bit, just make them smile?
Well, I've got like a question I want to ask you both. I'm thinking in terms of the spin-offs, do you reckon they'll do like a spin-off with that will have continual seasons or a returning series, or do you reckon almost like Marvel and Star Wars, you sort of have your one season, then maybe they'll do another spin-off for like instead of like one that's season 1, 2, 3, maybe they'll
Depends
I
on
think
what
I
you
think a
do,
mix.
isn't it?
I think a mix. I think a
Yeah.
mix. I think a
It depends
mix.
on what you do.
Because I think, for example, although we haven't seen it yet, actually we have. Loki season 2 is coming out. I'm an idiot. So they said Marvel haven't done any continuations, but they have. I think as well, there's a few that are going to get a couple continuations. I can see things like She-Hulk, Miss Marvel getting season 2s, even Moon
Do you
Knight.
think She-Hulk will get season 2?
Well, she's got to appear again somewhere, and unless they
Oh
just
yeah,
cut
good
her in
point.
and on
somewhere.
the Star Wars side, you have Mandalorian and
Yeah,
Book of,
yeah.
and then the Book of the Mandalorian. That was a good show. And obviously, I think Andor's slated for a second season, isn't it?
it
Andor,
is, yeah,
Andor was
yeah.
meant to be, wasn't it meant to be? I swear they said it was meant to be like 5 seasons, but they've cut it to 2, which is
Yeah,
really
and I
good.
think the last few of the season 2 of Andor are meant to like take place just leading up to Rogue One.
It's meant to like minutes before Rogue One.
You
So
can't,
it's a way to
yeah.
watch it like that.
You can't. I don't think in the modern day, in the modern era, I hate to call it this, but like the TikTok era, everything's moving fast. I don't think you can really plan for 5 seasons anymore.
No, but they literally came out and said, "This won't work if we do 5. We're going to cut it," and it's like good. They're literally focusing on what they should be focusing on.
Absolutely. I mean, I think if you ask me, I'm gonna pose you guys a question, right? Give me one long form season and one special season in Doctor Who universe that you'd like to see, and don't give me Unit because we already know we may be kind of getting something related to that anyway. So I'm not allowed.
They haven't confirmed that, have they?
No, but
because I have a fever dream that they have, but no.
No, not yet. Not officially yet.
Right.
But it's definitely everyone's talking about it. So I'm gonna assume that if everyone's talking about it, there's a high likelihood it's gonna happen. So I'm not giving you that. So yeah, one either one-off season or one-off special with something in Doctor Who, and then one long form like a Torchwood or Sarah Jane that can have 2 or 3 seasons if it wants to.
With the long form show, I would want either like an animated type show that you kind of deal with like an anthology animated show. I've heard
like
that
I Am Groot.
No. Oh yeah, I guess you kind of deal with different.
Can we call it Exterminate with a little baby Dalek go around?
Little baby Daleks.
No,
Davros.
I'm more up for K9. I think K9 Saturday morning.
K9, but K9, but I don't think they can do that, can they? Because of the rights. There's a big rights.
No, is there?
We don't know what's happening with that freaking Timequake thing.
For me, my most interesting Doctor Who villains are the Cybermen. I know they've been overused, and I know that, but there's still so many interesting things you could do with them. So I think that if you set like a darker show, not like they did with the Cyberwoman, but like a darker show, and you kind of set it around the Cybermen, I feel like that would work. Because as well, I think that with the universe that the shows go, like with the audience that the show's dealing with, obviously they're bringing in new audiences, which I think is brilliant. But as well as the people now that have grown up, they're probably much older, so you can have those like tortured-esque shows more. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to give you my long form show. This might be controversial because it hasn't really worked in the big show itself whenever it appears. But I'd like a Gallifrey show. That would actually
That
be
was
really
actually going to be mine, but
that would
it's
be
going to be my
really
pick
cool
of
to
it.
me. Like either that, or I was going to even go like I know it's kind of in right now, but do like a Game of Thronesian type because we want to. I kind of want to know more about the in and out of Gallifrey and not just seeing it get blown up all the time. I get
Mm,
reasons why writers do it because if the Time Lords are around, realistically, a lot of things in the universe wouldn't
yeah,
happen.
especially the
Um,
new Who.
and I get why a bunch of writers wouldn't want to touch it because a lot of fans are going, hashtag not my Gallifrey. So they just go, right, we'll go to their wants, blow it up. If someone wants to make that, they can. But no, I think Gallifrey could be an interesting one. I'd also get, like, look, if you're going to do a spin off, for me, you have to have a familiar face involved. And also, I get what you're saying about, fans having to kind of go back and forth. So that's why I'm just going to literally say, give Alex Kingston a show or give someone like that, someone who
Yeah,
can do who can be a bit edgy. I don't think we need a Torchwood-esque R-rated 18, 15 show where everyone's shagging or whatever. But you could do a fun difference where there's a bit more violence to it, a bit more grittier. Because the Doctor doesn't really get involved in violence too much. They're
yeah.
very passive. So if you get something like a River Song, so you can't use that character, but do you know what I mean? Someone like that who can carry that sort of show would be quite interesting, in my opinion.
But I also feel like not what people are talking about enough. I think online and all this stuff. Like I'd like to see the characters that they create. Do you know what I mean? Like it would be nice to have someone that we already know, but there must be probably a character that they'll make now in this new era that I'll go, oh, I want to learn more about them. You know?
I'm only saying that in the theory that potentially what might happen is after the first season, they might create a spin-off. I doubt they'll create a spin-off on the character that we meet in that first season because
Yeah,
they'll need to know how popular that character is first
good point.
before they opt to do it. But then, like I said, you can do Alex Kingston. You could. I think Unit is a good shout, and that's why I didn't want to touch it. I think it is a
Yeah,
good shout because you could also bring back companions if you want to from the past.
yeah.
You can be a part of Unit briefly because it's basically Torchwood but a bit less rogue and
Yeah, like we haven't like obviously like big finish like they've touched on it there, but if you think about it in the main show, like especially in the new Who era,
yeah,
they haven't touched really on Unit at all. We've seen
yeah.
stuff about it. They did a bit of that history episode in Flux, but other than that, we don't know much about it.
Yeah, and I think that'd be quite interesting. And Adam, I don't know about you, but I think a unit show, obviously not kind of like classic Who, where they're more military, but a more scientific unit show could work. Hopefully, bring back Osgood because I think she is a really good character. Some people say she's one note. I entirely disagree. I just think that she's always used very sparingly in episodes, so therefore doesn't really get any arc. But Ingrid Oliver's great. What's her name? Kate Stewart's great. What can't remember her name? Gemma Redgrave.
Jimmy
She's
Redgrave.
brilliant. Bring in, like you say, some of the Russell characters. I think that would work then in that show, Ash. If you were to bring some new Russell characters over to the unit
Yes.
spin-off, that then would work because you're not just filling it with new old characters, you're doing a
Yeah.
hybrid.
I mean, you can,
Um,
but you can also introduce like a classic, like all the classic characters that haven't, that may have not have, or you can reference them and they could be in an
yeah,
episode.
I obviously look, I think the main thing is, and I didn't see any concrete evidence of this, but apparently Katie Manning said she was involved with something unit spin-off, and she said on stage, like, "Oh no, yeah, I've done a cameo." So if Katie Manning's in a Doctor Who thing for more than one line, I'm there. I'm front row, mate.
Was this before the Legends of the Sea Devil thing, though? Or was this
No, this
after?
this was
I think
after. This was
Mm.
after Power of the
this is
Doctor.
at the BFI for the Sea Devils, and I know
Oh, right. Okay.
because
It's
I was
after
there.
that then.
Oh,
Right.
Yeah,
Ad, were
I
you
think.
there? Can
Yeah,
you
I was
clarify
at
that?
the.
What did she say? So I saw a tweet about it, but like, do you remember the kind of like
Yeah, I think
the
she's
optics?
aware. She's aware of the notion of spin-offs and maybe characters probably popping in. But if I was to pitch, do you know what? I think I might go a little, only a slight different from what you were saying. I sort of want the thick of it. I'll change planet, and it was going to be part of the eventual Christmas special, Peladon. I just think from when we
Oh,
explored it in the classic series, it was like a really believable and planet and society and I know they've done the Big Finish box set, but then they've done the Big Finish box sets for Unit, and that could be a
yeah.
TV thing. So why don't you take what we have a Big Finish, or even do a whole new thing and just Yeah, do that, and then Katie could pop up in that because she's had run-ins with Peladon, of course. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Who
more
would you
alpha.
cast? Who would be your lead?
I'd probably have to have a different King Peladon to David Troughton. So it's weird. I strangely thought of like Richard Armitage or some kind of ITV kind of
Not Chris Pratt.
star. No,
Not Chris Pratt.
He's got loads of Mario and Garfield movies.
Alfred
But-
Alfred Enoch.
Starring, so
Okay.
he'd be
Alfred
busy.
Enoch, what a shout! That's what a go. But no, for me, I'd say look, just put some running characters in. For
Lot of
the
aliens
unit
as well, I think
spin-off,
that would be-
for a couple aliens, but like new designs. Obviously, you have Alpha Centauri and an Ice Warrior, but give us like that's one of my favorite things, like the Rings of Akhaten, right? Which I know is a rogue story. A lot of people don't like that one. I'm a big fan, but like the
It's
alien
mixed.
designs
Mixed.
in that are really
Yeah.
cool. I don't think we get much of that in Modern Who anymore, where they
No.
put random crap together and make a miscellaneous alien that you see in the
Like,
background.
if you think about
Um,
it, go old Star Warsy with these aliens. Like, it's the
Yeah.
universe. You're gonna get that. Do you get what I mean? Like, I feel like we
Yeah.
haven't got that enough.
We need some
know what
like
I mean?
alien band music, like in the Cantina.
Oh,
in-
mate.
Yes. Oh my
That's
god,
with-
that'll be amazing. Have they done
with
that
Murray
yet?
coming back as well. Give us
Yeah.
if Murray Gold can do some jazz, that's what we're really
Well,
saying.
they
Give us-
tried. They
Mhm.
did. They
That's-
tried to do that with the End of Time, didn't they? The End of Time. They tried, but they just put the Devil and Me in the background.
Da,
didn't
da,
they?
Yeah.
da, da, da,
Yeah.
da, da, da. Just
That was
use
kind of
that.
like a cantina
Bring that
area,
back.
wasn't
Roll it back. Roll that back.
it?
That's one thing I'd love to see come back for the Dave Davies. Just that song. Just at one point randomly.
Do you know what? That's just made me think of what if they get musicals sort of started? Because we had Foxes, didn't we, in Mummy on the
We
Orient
did have
Express
Foxes,
doing a
yeah.
cover of Don't
Yeah.
Stop Me Now.
And then she
so I
got
wonder
cut.
if those will get some music stars.
And then she got cut. They made such a big deal about it, and then she wasn't even in it. Which
Yeah.
is
You
hilarious.
hear her voice for like a second or whatever.
And then they cut her out. It's a shame. But no, a massive exciting time, I think, for Doctor Who. Like I said, we can have I think this is a sign of it now. We have a 40-minute chat about it, and it's 6 months away still. And we
Yeah.
can now, that's the one positive of this era, I think. And I'm a fan of the old era, but you couldn't really theorize because you didn't know anything. So, yeah, but this is different now. We can have chats about what we think and what this could be and what that could be. And I think, more content the better for Doctor Who, especially because it is a brand that
That's the thing, but
isn't
there's-
dying. But
There's so much out for the 60th, and yet still we don't know enough. That's the thing.
don't-
Like
we
there
don't know
is so
anything.
much. Yeah,
We
we
know-
don't like. Yeah,
I could probably name you like 5 or 6 things,
Yeah.
main components. That's about it. But there we go. So shall we move on to the main topic of this podcast?
Completely forgot
Yeah,
about
we
it.
haven't had a ramble in a while, so I thought, a nice little Doctor Who ramble. I can split this up, put it into its own little video as well as like a little podcast kind of like. So
Cool.
there you go.
Nice.
There you go. So we get on to the main topic, boys. Are we ready? We strapped in.
Yes.
We got our seatbelts on. It's all about family. We're not talking about Fast X. I've not seen it. But no, family. Yes.
I live my life.
Adam knows most about family. Don't you, Adam?
Yes. Monday,
Was that your Vin Diesel
Wednesday.
impression? Sound like Morgan Freeman. Was that
Yeah, I was like Morgan
Catch all-
Freeman's in
Catch all the dog, mate. From the advert.
Oh
check-
yeah.
That was more than Vin Diesel. Right, guys. So we're going to talk about our main project. Stop dabbing, little weirdo. We're going to talk about movies this year, right? The reason I got this idea was, first of all, nothing came out this past week, so I had nothing to talk about. Guardians was 2 weeks ago, the Flash is finishing next week, and Ted Lasso's finishing the week after that. So next 2 weeks are all booked in fine. This week, Boggle came out, unless you want to talk about family, which I don't. So we're not going to. I thought this would be a good topic because essentially, obviously, with the pandemic, cinema took like a 2.5 year gap, really. I think you can maybe say the return of cinema was Spider-Man. And before that, nothing was really getting decent revenue. I mean, we kind of went to like pandemic revenue as like a new kind of standard, and slowly been building back up. Avatar did bits. Guardians is
Top
currently
Gun.
doing bits. Top Gun did bits. So I thought we could talk today about our 3 most anticipated movies, 1 surprise hit, and 1 box office bomb. So one thing that they think is going to do really well, and I think, or everyone else here thinks, it's going to not do as well as they think. Well, since you've been here the least times, I'll let you go first. Give us one of your
So what are we
three,
starting with?
movies that you're looking forward to. Give us.
So my number 3 pick is Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Now, it was only a few, like, I think the first movie is very, very good. I think it's very good.
Yep.
I for some reason I don't love it as much as the other. Like a lot of people think it's
Me,
the
ne- me,
best
ne-
superhero
me
movie
neither. Me
ever,
neither. Yeah, I'm
and
with you on
I
that.
think it's brilliant. But I wouldn't regard it as the best superhero movie ever. It's very, very good though,
Yeah,
and
it's
I think
very
the
good.
animation's amazing.
I I think
And
it's
I
one
think it
that
did actually deserve the Oscar.
what I would say is I think it's one thing. Well, when I in my head like, oh no, it's not as good as everyone says it is, and I watch it, and there's a brief
Yeah.
like two day window where I go, do you know what? Yes, it is that good, and then my
Mm.
brain switches off again. That's got nothing to do with the fact it's animated. I just think it's very low stakes,
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
think that's what it is. And also, I'm a big fan of these Tom Holland Spider-Man movies. And I'm just more connected to them than I am this version of Spider-Man at the minute. Although I do love the first one, especially the animation. Like I think that's one thing I think it's got going for it is the cast even better this time. You've still got Lord and Miller there for it. I think that helps. Hasn't it just been announced it's the longest animation ever?
It's 2 hours and 16 minutes is what I've
Isn't
got
that
here.
hasn't that broken the record for the longest animation
I'm
ever?
not sure. I really
You're on a
don't know.
computer, Osian. You've got the screen up. That was,
I'll
could do some
I'll
googling.
check.
But no,
I'll
Adam,
check now.
Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Obviously, part 1 of 2. Thoughts?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this movie. Definitely one of my most anticipated. Yeah, I think the first one was great. I definitely think top tier in terms of Spider-Man. It's one of my favorite Spider-Man movies for sure.
Yeah.
And animation style was slick but brilliant and sort of really wholly new at the time, I felt. I loved the different kind of the assembled Spider-Man. Like it'll be great. It'll be great because we still got Peter B. Parker, obviously more of Miles' story, which, I love Miles and Spider-Man and Spider-Gwen and such. Hopefully Spider-Pork is there as well, because I love him in Spider-Noir, Nicolas Cage, come on, my boy. But also we get the introduction to Spider-Man 2099, I believe, voiced by Oscar Isaac as well,
Yeah.
because he was in the post-credit scene of the first one.
Brilliant
And now we're going to
cast.
get more of him. Yeah, brilliantly cast. As I said, we're getting more of him in the sequel, which would be great.
I think that that's the thing. Like it was only like, when this film was announced, I was like, oh yeah, and then it looked really good. But it was only about a month ago that it really hit me. I was like, actually, I'm really excited for this, only because I think that for some reason, for me, every time it's announced that something is a part 1, it anticipates a lot more. I think, especially since Infinity War, ever since then, like the feeling that I thought watching Infinity War with that whole cliffhanger. I do love a good cliffhanger. They're always good, and I'm hoping that maybe it'll have a cliffhanger will affect this movie. But I also think that what's exciting me the most about this film is the cast that they have. So they're introducing Andy Samberg is apparently meant to be in this film. Daniel Kaluuya is in this film, which is an amazing actor. You've got different people as well joining the cast. I just think it's going to be. I love the fact that they're incorporating different animation styles into this film. Like the first one obviously changed animation in Hollywood in a way because he used that comic book style, and Disney even, and everyone's kind of picking that kind of animation style up now a lot.
Puss in Boots did a bit of that as well.
Yeah, Puss in Boots. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is using that sort of
Yeah.
style for their film. I don't think people say no, it's copying Spider-Verse. It's just using the same style. It's not copy. It's just a unique style that they've gone. Okay, this looks good.
And they've made their own, really.
Yeah.
Like I don't kind of think, oh, that's definitely a shot from Spider-Verse, and it makes me curious, like because it's a 2-part, maybe longer story. It makes me think about, oh, what kind of scope is it really going for? Because even in the trailer, you see all these different Spider-Man and everything like that, and you kind of feel like, no, this could be a really big story, and with Miles being the emotional hook, I reckon, sort of because he sort of like really like he sort of became Spider-Man in the first one, but it's sort of like he's going to try and set on his own path and set on his own identity kind of thing. So like, yeah, I'm all for it.
Alex, what do you think?
I'm really buzzing for it. I think it can be even better than the first one narratively. Because here's my thing. I think the first one everyone loves it because it's possibly one of the best voice casts ever assembled. That's only got better with this one. B, it looks amazing. C, it's got a great soundtrack, and it's just refreshing. It's different, right? I think that's the argument of the superhero fatigue thing, right? Because that's not a thing. People love superheroes. People still go and watch them. That's why they keep making them. Just make them good, and then we'll go see them. Vis-a-vis, Guardians is making bank right now because it's really good. Whereas Ant-Man Quantumania, which I don't mind, but it ain't great. You know, like for me, yeah, I'm really buzzing for this. I think it'd be great. Um, it's weird, right? Because there's also prospects of live action cameos. I don't know how that'll work. Obviously, look, we all lose. I mean, I'm kind of annoyed about this new cameo kind of world we live in, where everyone expects a cameo and everything, right? Like, I'm a big fan of Multiverse of Madness, and a lot of people didn't like that movie. I'm not saying everyone's criticism is this, but some people are. They don't want enough cameos. But when did cameos dictate how good a film was? To me, it's the story, and I thought the story in that one was really good. So I think this could be great. I think if Miguel O'Hara is the villain, and then cool. You also got Jason Schwartzman as the Spot, which seems like a comedic character, but that could just be like a double cross in the trailers to make us think that he might not be as serious as we may think. So that's exciting, and I'm sure it'll be really fun. And I'm looking forward to the soundtrack more than anything because.
I completely forgot about the soundtrack.
Sunflower's been stuck in my rotation since in the past 5 years, and it came out 5 years. Can you believe that, boys? 5 years ago since Into the Spider-Verse came out. Yeah,
gosh, that is mental. That is mental. I just thought, yeah.
Ad, if you don't mind, I'm gonna go next.
Of course.
With my next movie. I just need to get the title exactly correct because I could be wrong with this, and it has changed. Well, I think in some countries it's different. So I'm just gonna double check. It's Next Goal Wins. I'm gonna go with that is the title. There is some changes. This is a new Taika Waititi film coming out, and here is my thing. I love Taika Waititi as a filmmaker when he's not in the MCU because I think he gets a lot more kind of breadth to do Taika Waititi things when he's not in the MCU and has the confines of the MCU. I'm not saying I think either of his films in the MCU are terrible. Of course I don't. I think everyone overreacts how bad Thor Love and Thunder is. I'd much rather watch that than most of the X-Men movies and some of the MCU movies. So it's not horrendous. It's just a bit rubbish. Whereas Taika Waititi has not made a bad film outside the MCU, and that's something I'll stick to, right? You can watch things like Jojo Rabbit, which is probably his most commercially successful film outside of the MCU. But even then, he has films like Boy, What We Do in the Shadows, Hunt for the Wilder People. Like, he's not made a bad movie. And this one, you've got a really good cast. Fassbender's in it, and he's always brilliant. I think people remember him only as Magneto, which is a massive shame because he's a great actor, like a really good actor.
He was Ezio in the Assassin's Creed movie.
Don't talk about Ezio. Just going to quickly have a look at the cast for you. Just because I haven't really done that much research on this one because I haven't had to. Some films that you're really excited for, you're going to go see whenever. Like I spoke to you guys about before, some things I don't need trailers for because I know I'm going to watch it. Like Doctor Who, they didn't release a trailer, still watch it.
I've not watched a trailer for this yet.
It's got Elizabeth Moss in it, Will Arnett's in it. Of course, he was probably most known for Lego Batman. But like really good cast, really good fun. Obviously, actually, but I don't know if you'd like to see the trailer, but thoughts on Taika Waititi as a whole? What's your thoughts?
Adam, do you want to go first?
Yeah, to be perfectly honest, I've only really seen a handful of this film. I liked Jojo Rabbit. I think that was a good film, and I liked Ragnarok and maybe not so much Love and Thunder, and his Mandalorian episodes are good, and of course he is the voice of IG-11 as well, so that's pretty cool. And he pops up. I feel like I now know him more as an actor because he does lots of voice and bit roles. He's like Blackbeard in Our Flag Means Death, and he's a character in Lightyear and stuff like that. So I sort of, in a way, I'm sort of now associating him more as an actor than a filmmaker. Obviously, he plays Korg in his Thor movies and the Avengers movies as well. But yeah, he's a good director. I've not heard of this movie, but sounds intriguing. And,
watch a trailer. I'd say watch a trailer because Adam, I know you're not the biggest football fan, but this is one of those kind of similar to Ted Lasso vibes. So I feel like you don't need to love football to go and see this movie. No, I just think Taika Waititi has a really good sense of realism in his movies, which I know is weird considering he's directed Thor and a movie about Hitler. But I think one thing that Taika Waititi has really good is his dialogue is really natural. His characters say a lot of things that you feel like people would say, which I think sometimes directors and films struggle with. Like characters talk really a bit exposition-y and a bit weird. Like Star Wars, they always like talk a bit bizarre, whereas at Taika Waititi, everyone just talks like they're normal and a bit awkward, which is, I think,
Yeah.
the best way dialogue should be. But no, that's why I had it at number three, because obviously there were some big movies coming out this year. Um, and obviously this isn't one of them in the sense of like I've been on the edge of my seat for it, but this is probably like one that I think might not do too hot at the box office because of its standing in terms of what's coming out around it. But I think should be one that at least people try and go see if they
Well,
can. Because
when's it
also
meant to come out?
in like October.
Oh, right. Okay.
But like for me, I think also support independent film, and I get that Taika Waititi isn't really like an independent filmmaker anymore, but I think people don't really go and see films like this. So give it a shot because I think you might be surprised. But no, that was kind of like my number three because I've got two blockbusters that I wanted to highlight. But yeah, that was just one I thought I should highlight.
Nice.
What about you, Adam?
Adam.
Give us one of your 72 films.
Yes. For number three, it's funny actually because the reviews have just come out for this movie, but I don't think it's made me less excited, and I'm quite optimistic about
I know
Indiana
what this
Jones and
is.
the Dial of
Yeah,
Destiny.
I know this is. Yeah, yeah.
I think James Mangold is a fab director, and I think he's proven with Logan, his character's so well defined and like the emotional journey, that it's taken through. I love that kind of relationship between Wolverine and X-23, very father-daughter. It's beautiful. He knows how to make an emotionally impactful film. And I think for what will be the last Indiana Jones movie, I think he'll do that again. I think he'll also capture the adventurous spirit that Spielberg, had with the first four films. And I know people probably think, oh, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, the back of their head saying, well, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, that was a failure. Why are they doing another one? Should it obviously, ideally, be great as a trilogy, but I think there's still hope, and I'm intrigued about Phoebe Waller-Bridge's character, goddaughter, I believe, to Indy as well, and you can kind of tell that it's probably Harrison Ford is more emotionally invested in Indiana Jones than Han Solo, I
Yeah.
suppose. So there is that going for it. And Mads Mikkelsen as a villain, which always great. So
Always great.
Yeah.
I think I've sort of missed that kind of, because it's almost like Uncharted, that kind of more not necessarily superhero or galactic kind of space method, but sort of I don't know, just sort of an adventure movie,
Yeah.
And I love those sort of grown up, the Indiana Jones and your Goonies and stuff like that. So yeah, Indiana Jones and Dark Destiny, be good.
Yeah, you always have like also I do love the fact that I mean Kingdom of the Crystal Skull changes with like the alien stuff, but like what I liked about the first three is like how it literally takes like religious stuff or like takes like these things of mythology or religion, and it kind of does like a kind of realistic approach on that, which is a strange thing to think about. But
Yeah.
like yeah, it just I don't know. I do like its kind of wacky aspects. I mean, that's the thing. Like when I was watching Uncharted like last year or when the hell it came out, I was watching it and I was going, do you know what we need? We need another Indiana Jones film. And that's
Yeah.
why I am quite excited for this. I mean, that's the thing. I hope it's not I hope it is the last one. I hope they're not going to just carry this franchise out, which I'm heard it's not the case. They will carry this on. But I don't know.
Probably
It's
without
just
Harrison, I reckon. I think
yeah.
Harrison Ford.
But
That
even
would
then,
really
like,
be
do
tough.
we need? Yeah,
what's the
what's the
point?
point? Yeah, what is the
Oh,
point?
here's the
Yeah.
thing with me, right? And well, I think you guys have said this really well. I love Indiana Jones. Well, I love the first and the third one. Second one's all right. I don't care for the fourth one at all. Um, this shouldn't be coming out. I don't think this is for me anyway. I just think if you're relying on young Harrison Ford to
Yeah.
carry a movie, I'm not. There's part of it that just feels this is a bit weird. This whole de-aging tactic thing.
Yeah.
And I get that he's on set for most of it doing all that, but also Just have him be old and put Phoebe Waller-Bridge in. I know most of it's flashbacks, and that's what they're relying on to get you in there. But for me, if it's going flashback, flashback, future, like this could be a really messy movie. The only thing
Exactly.
that gives me excited is it is James Mangold, who is gold dust and hasn't really made a bad film either.
Yeah, he did Ford versus Ferrari, which is I think is a
Yeah,
very
and
underrated film that he
Logan,
made.
and Logan.
I know, yeah, and Logan, but I think
Um,
Ford versus Ferrari is a film that no one
yeah,
really
it's
talks
great.
about.
I love it. I love
Yeah.
it. I love it. But yeah, I'm not. This would not be on my list. I actually putting it close to the bomb section, but I knew it wasn't going to bomb, so it didn't really make sense. Um, so yeah, I'm not buzzing for this one. It could be good and surprise me, but apparently it got a lukewarm standing ovation at the Cannes Film. What is a lukewarm standing ovation? Guess we have to find out. But then again, the Cannes Film Festival can be quite film criticky and quite. So
Yeah.
maybe the general audience will get a kick out of it, and
A
maybe I'll
few
be
people
wrong.
did enjoy it, just others didn't. That's the thing. It's very
Yeah,
mixed. That's what I've
you
heard.
can't really trust the critics' review. I'm not saying the critics are
Yeah.
wrong. But I think critics are looking for different things than the general audiences, which I think is fair enough. I think you can kind of gauge the two, right? But like, yeah, I'll wait and see what the reviews are like before I bother and wait and see if it's on Disney Plus.
And also, you have some critics, obviously, they go to the Cannes Film Festival that maybe haven't watched Indiana Jones, so they're gonna just watch it as
Yeah,
people that haven't watched those films before. So
yeah,
they're gonna think about it more like wacky, you know.
absolutely. All right, I'm gonna change up the formula. So I'm gonna go next.
Okay.
And I'm gonna give you because I'm scared someone's gonna take this soon. This is my number one for the summer and for
Oh,
2023.
this is good number
I'm gonna
one.
jump because I'm scared someone's gonna take this. So I'm putting my stamp of authority down. And I'm gonna go
Okay.
with Mission Impossible Dead
Ah!
Reckoning
Sorry.
Part One.
Damn.
Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part One is
That's
my
my
Damn.
box office thumbs up.
Okay, so we're all I assume it's also on your list, Osh.
It's my number one as well.
Yeah. For me, these films have only gotten better, which is weird.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe I prefer 4 to 5, but even then, they're both great anyway. But
I
no,
haven't watched one. No, I've watched one. I've watched 2 and 3. Those are the only ones I haven't seen. Which
I've
people
seen all.
say
I've seen all
good.
of them, and two's bad, and then the rest of them
Yeah.
are sort of good
Yeah.
to fantastic. Mission Impossible Fallout was great. This new direction they've taken is great. The fact that they are ending it, they're not doing a Fast and Furious and just continuing them on and on and on and on forever, and making 12 movies when they could have just made 7. I think this is good. I think they clearly have a good plan for this. I think there's some surprises in store. The big sad thing about this movie is that the Jeremy Renner of it all apparently is meant to come back for part 2. And now he can't. Bless him, which is a shame.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Which one of the best characters in the franchise as well. But we got some really good cast in here. We've got some really good surprises. I'm buzzing for
Mark
this.
Gatiss is apparently meant to be in it. I'm just like,
yeah, Mark Gatiss. Lazarus is back, baby.
yeah.
But no, I mean Haley Atwell's in it, which is exciting. Haley Atwell, she's always great. Pom Clemente F is in the movie. Vanessa Kirby's in the movie. You got so good people in this. And of course you've got your mains in there as well. So Sam Pegg is in it.
I'm afraid that I think that he'll die in this film. I'm not gonna lie to you.
No, I think he's the only one that's going to survive by the end of it.
Do you think?
Yeah, I think you could even see Tom Cruise die, which wouldn't be in Cruise.
In this one?
No, not in this one, but
in the next one.
No, too. I think maybe Ving Rhames will go in this one.
Maybe. I feel like one of the companions will. That's my
companions. What is this, Doctor Who?
Yeah, Doctor Who. Yeah.
But no, I mean, I really hope that if they kill Simon Pegg, I wouldn't be able to go see part 2.
Yeah. Also, I'm very confused. I swear they haven't even started filming part 2, which is really confusing. So it's like, when's that film meant to come out? If it's like a part, like
I don't know, but I think that look, based on the last one, Henry Cavill was great as a villain. He's gonna be difficult to top. He was just so good. That mustache was so.
The last film, if Infinity War never came out that year, then Fallout would have been my top 1 film of the year.
Yeah,
which had really surprised me because I swear, like even then, I hadn't actually watched a lot of the Mission Impossible films. It was just a film that was like, oh, this looks quite fun, and then I watched it and I was like, this was very, very fun.
Yeah, I'd also say the one thing the Mission Impossible films have had recently is the lack of James Bond films. I know not the same thing, But
I get you. I
these
get you.
last three came out in an
They're
era
spy
where
films.
the last three came out in an era where either James Bond films weren't very good or none came out. Like Skyfall was really good. Then you had 2 or 3 Mission Impossible films in between that. And then you had Spectre, which was, it was all right. It was fine. And obviously, since Fallout, we've had the amazing No Time to Die. So that really kind of helped, I think, Mission Impossible go up because unfortunately people decide they're like one thing or the other and sort of stick to that rather than watch both.
Yeah. And right now
But
we don't have any like we Bond for a while probably.
yeah,
So, you know.
but of course Christopher McQuarrie is directing and he's great at the action side of it all. And I think that's kind of the main thing, similar to John Wick, I suppose, but that's the biggest comparison you can draw, is that the action in these films is always fantastic. You've always got Tom Cruise doing some absolutely crazy thing, which you watch and you go, wait, that was practical? No way. And yes, he did it because he's Tom Cruise. So of course he did. And yeah.
And he's one-upping himself. And I think there's like that bike stunt that's been like,
yeah.
recorded already. And like, I think that's the thing that will get people like be like,
Yeah,
right,
that's
we
why
got to
you watch them.
experience
Yeah.
this moment. Like the Dubai Tower moment in the 4th one, I believe, and him hanging off the plane,
Yeah.
which he did for real in the 5th one. It's pretty
I mean,
nuts.
the
And I
last
think
one. Oh, so no, you continue.
all I was just going to say, because it's like my box office number one, I think because Top Gun Maverick was very financially successful, I think Chris McQuarrie, I don't think he directed it, but I think he might have like produced it. But I think him and Tom are sort of almost a dream team in terms of making spectacle for the big screen. So
Yes.
I kind of feel like box office wise, it's going to do really well because of Maverick.
I feel like
people are loving Cruise right now. People are feeling the incruisableness of Cruise. Everything's incruisable right now.
Cruise.
You put Cruise in a movie, it's making bank, man. Like, I think at the end of the day, I think people kind of forget this one's coming out, which is a shame. Like,
yeah, which might scare the box office stuff.
No, it won't, because it'll be hopefully it gets good reviews and that just puts it back to normal again. Yeah. But yeah, no, I'm so excited for this, and I was worried Oshan would have it up on his list, so that's why I wanted to jump in front of him. But yeah, I'm gonna say that is my favorite for the year. Before I think, look, even if it's half as good as the 6th one, I'll still really enjoy it. That's how good the 6th one was. If they can somehow better Fallout, then they've done themselves proud. And you have to remember as well, going into this, kind of similar to Spider-Verse, it's a part 1, so I suppose it's kind of half of a story. I think a lot of people don't like Deathly Hallows Part 1, whereas actually, if you watch them back to back,
that's boring as hell.
No, but if you watch them back to back, it's just one movie. Like, I think Deathly Hallows Part 1's great. I think Deathly Hallows Part 1's great. Like, actively, it's a good movie and does what it needs to do. But people just sometimes watch on its own on ITV1. It's like, oh, that was a bit bland.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, they're kind of made to be watched back to back, which is weird because they came out a year apart from each other. But you know what I mean? Like, I think when you watch it for the first time in the cinema, you're like, this is great. And then you watch it on ITV1 with adverts. I'm like, this is a bit dull, this. But yeah, all right, I'll let you go now. What's your number? Actually, no, Adam's not giving away. Adam actually makes no sense because we've given away 2 of yours.
Yeah, I've had
so
mine.
Let's go to Adam.
Go, yeah.
What is your?
So, technically the 2 films that are most anticipated are animated. Of course, we mentioned Spider-Verse, but if I was to give another one, Elemental, which is Pixar's upcoming project. It's technically their first original theatrically wider theatrically released film in like 3 years, because like Lightyear was, I suppose, more a spin-off, and then the last few sort of original ones have been on Disney Plus, and the last one we had at the cinema was Onward. So that,
which is underrated.
Yeah, I've seen a few trailers, and because of the track record of Pixar, and they're always been, I think Pixar have always just been that studio that capture magic and the stories of the human spirit so well, like the emotions in Inside Out, and just the first 10 minutes of Up, and it's one that I know is gonna pack the emotions, gonna make me cry, and it's gonna make me laugh. I think it's always good to have a good sort of laugh in there as well, and Pixar do that a lot, and it'd be great to sort of I know technically done that of Lightyear, but I'd say that's probably one of the more disappointing ends of a Pixar film. But I'm ready to be rocked by Pixar on the big screen. again because it hasn't really happened since Onward. So that's why I'm looking forward to it. I think, yeah, love Pixar.
Also, it has the Up short film right before
It
that's
does
premiering.
indeed, yeah.
So that's another reason why I'm like, oh, do I go and watch this?
And also because the actor who played Carl had like passed away a few years ago. I think
So
Ed
this is his
Asner,
last
if I
thing,
want to
isn't it?
say,
Yeah.
be his last sort of project as well.
Mm.
Yeah. I'm sorry, lads. I was close to having this on my for the year. Yeah, this wasn't grab me.
Oh,
I didn't,
Elemental.
I didn't put it on the bottom. I didn't put it.
Wait,
You
so is
didn't put
this
it.
Adam,
I
is
didn't
this
put
your
it as a.
second pick?
He's got 25.
What?
He's got 25 different movies,
No,
mate.
no. This is no. I narrowed it down, but I wrote a lot of films down, and then I'm just narrowing it down for the
Right.
sake of podcast.
Alex,
Yeah.
sorry, what were you saying?
I was just saying that this film hasn't grabbed me by the trailers. But like
Same,
when we
same.
talk about our box office bombs, I don't think it's going to be a bad movie. I think it's going to underperform at the box office. Of course, put that down there because I don't really see anyone getting excited about it, which is a
Was
shame.
this is your bomb film?
Yeah, it was close. There's one that I remember. Oh yeah, no, that's coming out. That'll bomb. But it was close. And like I say, Adam, I love Pixar, but I've not seen the last two Pixar movies. I haven't seen Lightyear. I haven't seen what was the other one before that? Turning Red. I was going to call it the Red Fox, but it doesn't even called the Red
Oh, it's
Fox.
Disney Plus, isn't it?
Yeah, both of
Yeah, it was Disney Plus as well.
Yeah, I thought Onward was underrated though. Just quickly, not enough love out there for Onward. I think it's because it was a bit different. I actually think it's really good.
Not too bad.
I think it's really fun. I think it's fun.
It's okay. It's
because it's the last film I saw in cinemas before COVID, which is probably the same thing for a lot of people actually. Because I think that movie came out and then it was like 10 days later the world went shut down. But no, yeah, I think this film's gonna be good. Like, I think it will be good. I was worried if it would underperform, but then, like you say, Adam, it's an original Pixar idea. That's great. Good. No sequels. Toy Story 5. No, thank you. But this is a good idea, and I think it's fun. I think it's gonna have that heart to it. One thing I'm worried about is it treading the same water as some other Pixar films, maybe, but I can't throw that criticism at it until I've seen the film. But just from the trailers, two people that aren't the same have to come together and they'll, make both sides respect each other. It feels like it's gonna be one of those movies which we've seen before. So unless they do something new with it, which they could entirely do because the trailer's only a trailer, then that's where my brain's at. Is that I don't know if this is just treading old water with a new paintbrush.
I get what you mean, and it's interesting you were saying about maybe this doesn't grab you, and maybe the marketing didn't. But I think sometimes, like, I can go in completely sort of fresh and not worrying about either what the critics say or how great the marketing thing is, and that's where you get surprised. Like Coco, what an absolute godsend of a movie, and that's the beauty of Pixar as well. You don't have to necessarily watch all the trailers or try to understand everything going in beforehand. You just let the film wash over you, and you get the emotions, you get the laughter, you're happy, you're sad, you feel everything. Pixar is wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't disagree. I'm like you say, when we give our box office bomb later on, for me anyway, we can all do it different ways. I didn't do it just on quality of movie. I did it in terms of what will underperform generally to what's expected. So I think I'll really like this movie. When I was considering putting it in the box office bomb, I was like, well, the market hasn't grabbed me. And if it hasn't grabbed a film buff like me, is it going to grab a young child who would much rather go see Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or any of the other really cool animations?
Is that coming out this year?
Yeah, like the Spider-Man stuff. Do you know what I mean? There's a lot of films coming out that people might be like, yeah, I really want to go see that. Rather than this. That's the only why I thought bomb. But no, I think story-wise it looks promising. It's how I'd word it. I'm not sat there going, oh, I can't wait for this year's Pixar, but I'm not going, oh no, I won't watch it. Like if it gets really good reviews, I'll be in that theater. I won't wait for Disney Plus. I'll go. But if the reviews are banging, and also like Osian said, the thing of the up element in the room is also a good reason to go. At least it's not Olaf's 14-minute weird adventure.
I mean, they pushed it onto the film because it was originally meant to come out on Disney Plus and had a release date and everything, and then everyone looked on that day and it just wasn't there, and they were like, "Oh, yeah, we've just moved it before Elementals now."
Yeah.
So
but yeah, Osh, we'd like to give it your number two.
I give my number two. So this is my last one. It is. I'm calling this now, and I'm calling this This is what I think
Yep.
will be best picture winner of next year.
Yeah, I know what this is. I know what this is. I know.
Dune
Oh
2.
no! Okay, I'm wrong.
No.
Okay. Okay,
Dune Chapter 2.
I haven't seen Dune 1, so I'm going to sit this
Now,
one out.
Dune 1 for me is okay. I think it's very, very good. But again, it just sets up such a such a great sequel, and you can already tell from the film and the marketing. The first one already won 6 Oscars, and I have a feeling that it will win the best, or at least be up there as one of the best pictures of next year. Only because the cast that they have in this film is insane. The director. I don't want to mess up his name. It's Denis.
Denis Villeneuve.
That's the one. Brilliant director. I just think the first one is so good, and the fact that this one's meant to be looking better, and I don't know, just everything about it. I'm very excited. Like the first one, like I said, it's very good. It wasn't my favorite film of the year. I thought it was quite long, but it was a film to set up a much larger film or a franchise itself, and this is what that film is, and I'm very excited for it.
I agree. Like, I think Denis Villeneuve's sci-fi movies are just all around fab. I love The Arrival.
Brilliant. Yeah.
Blade Runner 2049 was a fab sequel as well. That's already sort of because Dune, of course, being adapted from the book, he's sort of taking that kind of already pre-established sort of material and creating an amazing spectacle with Blade Runner. It was very much intrigue and really great eye for sort of direction, because like even carrying it on with the first Dune, it looked fantastic. There were some great set pieces. The cast were really good, and the amount of I think I was almost overwhelmed by like the cast, because you had like Jason Momoa, then you had Oscar Isaac, then you had Josh Brolin,
and that was on the first movie.
Young leads as well. Timothy Chalamet and Zendaya, and then we're getting Florence Pugh and Austin Butler in the sequel.
We've
got new characters to look forward to.
Léa Seydoux as well from
from Bond,
and Christopher Walken is apparently meant to be in this as well.
Oh yes, that's gonna be marvelous.
Yeah, because I can't really comment on this. I think it'll do well. Didn't watch the first one. It was like passed me by. I think I'm someone that when things are based off a book, I kind of like to read the book first. I think that was my intention. I just never got around to reading the book. I'll probably watch the film at some point. Probably before the second one comes out, I'll watch it and then I see if I vibe with it. But no, I think the cast is great. I've heard good things. I think they're a bit cheeky last time promoting Zendaya and apparently Shanine at the end. Good marketing tactics. Good marketing.
It was
tactics.
very good marketing. I'll give him that.
She's not in the movie, but she'll be in this one a lot. So
I think the same for a lot of the marketing they put in for this film.
Yeah.
Or like characters. Apparently, Florence Pugh's character is marketed quite a lot, and she's only like a 5-minute character in like the book. It's only like she's only in it for like such a little segment. But I think like with such a big franchise and such big like cast as this, like I feel like it's quite nice when a director only brings like a big actor in for like a few scenes. You get what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not a fan of Austin Butler, so that cast announcement doesn't. I just think he's a bit bland, personally. But yeah, it's a great cast. Like Léa Seydoux, I think is one of the most underrated actors today. She's great in everything she does. I think also underrated in Bond, actually. Like she's so good in Bond.
Very good.
And I don't think people give her enough credit. But yeah, I think the cast is great.
Skarsgård as well as the villain.
Ooh, what a name.
And the makeup that they put on him is something else.
I'll never forget him running nude around Stonehenge, though. That was what he's known for, to me, from Thor: The Dark World.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think this could be. I think it's a good shout, actually. I think it's one as well, kind of similar to some of the movies we mentioned. Not many people are talking about just yet. So it was like a Mission Impossible. It's kind of under the radar right now.
Yeah.
We're talking Indiana Joneses and things like that. Whereas for me, I think that one will do really well as well. That is possibly, a big box office hit this year. But the cast sounds expensive, so maybe they're gonna have to make at least $5 billion to get the money back. But break all the records. But no, it looks exciting.
And I think actually I'll give this to you, Osian, because I think if anything, he made the first Dune, but I think what Denis Villeneuve did with Blade Runner 2049 has made a great follow-up. So I think if anything, if he did a great Blade Runner 2, he'll do a great Doom 2.
And that's why I think it's going to win Best Picture of 2024. And if it doesn't, then I delete social media.
All right.
That's a bold claim. I'm not. That's a lie.
Well, what were you saying? Let's get that. Run that back one more time.
No, I'm not
say,
saying
say
that.
Say that again.
If Dune doesn't win Best Picture, I'm deleting social media. If
There we
this
go.
comes out, then
You better follow Osian GT
yeah.
on TikTok now, because he'll make a renaissance at some point and he'll delete it. No. One thing I will say very briefly: not enough Will Smith movies this year. Not much Will Smith going on. There's the weird plug for Will Smith month. It's coming up soon, guys. Get excited! Don't tell me to shut up during my plug. You know, me and Adam have to go through hell for 4 recording sessions. 5 recording sessions. I forgot one. That's how much hell we went through.
Wait, I've just honestly, if you, I've just Googled just Will Smith, and the first picture that comes up is him crying, accepting his Oscar. That's like about the slap. That's the first picture that comes up.
What a weird time that was.
Yeah.
I meant that. Quick story about that very briefly. I remember being in bed lying down, and you texting a group chat being like, Will Smith just smacked Chris Rock at the Oscars. I was in bed being like, what's going on?
This is like 3 o'clock in the morning. It was like the weirdest time of my life.
Thinking it was like a stunt, and then it wasn't a stunt, and it was real. And it was like, what? Right, ads. I don't know if it's on your list. I assume it is. Now there's... Are you okay there?
Yeah, sorry, I was singing my Dune music. Carry on.
We're talking... Now there's a big rivalry going on one particular day this year. Right, you got Christopher Nolan
there is.
coming in with Oppenheimer. But for me, I'm more excited for Greta Gerwig's Barbie, which I know is crazy, right? On one side, you've got this brilliant cast. You have Florence Pugh's back. She's in Oppenheimer, I think, right? She's in that. She's doing bits. You've got Cillian Murphy, who's always great, even though I say I don't like him, but I secretly do. You've got some really, really good stuff. But on the other side, you've got Barbie with every member of Sex Education supposedly in it, apparently. You've got John Cena who's in it, which I didn't know about until the other day. You've got Dua Lipa who's in it for some reason. Michael Cera who's in it. And that's not even talking about Ryan Gosling and Margot Robbie. Will Ferrell's in the movie. And look, it just looks really fun. It just looks super fun. And sometimes you want to go to the cinema to just have fun. And I think that's what this is. And don't get me wrong, I think Oppenheimer will be great. I want to say now, I'll probably go see both of them in quick succession. No way I'm seeing them on the same day. Apparently, Oppenheimer is 18 hours long. So I'm not going to go see 2 movies on the same day, especially when one of them is 3.5 hours, supposedly. Screw that noise.
Oh, my God.
But yeah, I'm just more excited for this one. Maybe it's because I like the cast a lot and the trailer looks really fun. And sometimes that's all I need. And Greta Gerwig's brilliant. Not saying Christopher Nolan isn't. He's fantastic, but he doesn't have the fun of Barbie for me. And sometimes I prefer to go to the cinema to have fun more than watch a serious movie. Not a serious movies are bad either. I remember watching 1917 at cinema and being absolutely amazed. But I tend to watch the more serious films on streaming sometimes. I don't know. I don't know. Like if I'm going out for the day, I like to kind of be happy when I leave the cinema, not super, depressed. And I think Barbie's going to give me that more. But yeah, so for me, Barbie is number 2 because it's not quite as action.
Oh, that actually it is your number 2.
Yeah, it's not quite as action packed as Mission Impossible, but it had to be on there just because if I didn't put it on there, I'd be lying to myself. I just think overall it's vibes. But I assume Oppenheimer is on your list.
Well, it's my box office bomb.
What? Oh my God! We'll run that back in a bit. We'll run that back in a bit. Give us you'll give us one of your highlights, please. We're going to run this back. Give us your last one.
Is Greta Gerwig's Barbie?
Way! Right.
Like,
I'll hand it over to you guys to chat about Barbie a bit.
Yeah, like you, I think it's going to be that kind of fun summer movie. It'll be camp. I think the cast will be really fun as well, interacting off each other. I think Ryan Gosling and Margot Robbie's going to have fab chemistry. I'm more intrigued by what it's actually all about, really, because I don't think the trailers reveal too much. I think there's so much.
I think there's a darker tone there. I think there's a darker.
Yes, something maybe a little bit of a cynical edge to it. I'm really.
So what's? It then asks the question like, what is the target? What is this film aimed at? Do you get what I mean?
I think it's like a 12. I think it's like a 12 vibes. There'll be a bit of like a they'll be able to get away with some stuff. I think I could be wrong. And I'll just quickly jump in there as well. I think the fact that we know nothing about it, but it still looks so enticing, I think is something that not a lot of movies can do these days. That we talked about Doctor Who earlier, and everyone wants to know everything before they can get excited. But with this, I knew the director, I knew the cast, I was like, I'm in. That's what I need to know.
2001 nod that they do at the beginning of the trailer. I was like, what's this all about? And then is it also going to be sort of part musical? Because I think mainly because I want Shooty Gatwood to be part of a musical number in a movie, or Emma Mackey or John Cena. I don't know.
I'd love to. Do you know what? I'd love to see Michael Cera do a musical. I hope people forget. Can I just say as well, this might be the most weird step I've ever said. I think Ryan Gosling is one of the most underrated actors in modern films. And what I mean by that is I think a lot of people see him and go, oh, so Ryan Gosling is very one note. He's not. He's really good. He's so good. Like if you watch
He's very charismatic.
If you watch Drive compared to La La Land, two different characters. You watch him in any movie ever, he's always giving something new, something fresh. And he's very funny in this. Like even the one scene when he's like, oh, can we go back to your place tonight? And Barbie's like, to do what? And he goes, I have absolutely no idea. Like, I think it's brilliant. I think he's going to have some great banter with Simu Liu, who I forgot to mention in this movie as well.
Such a cast
has seemed to skyrocket in terms of what he's done. First of all, I think that's down to the fact he's a really good actor, but also because he seems to be just a really nice guy. And here's a word of us: if you're nice people, it gets you places. I think that's
too.
He's very charismatic. Did you see his episode of Hot Ones? He was brilliant. I think that's what landed in the role. I think I watched that. I was like, we need to get this guy. But yeah, no, I'm buzzing for this, Adam. Buzzing.
Yeah.
Even if Will Ferrell's great in everything, that's another thing as well. I think Will Ferrell is just a Will Ferrell thing, but that's always like fun. I've never seen a Will Ferrell performance and I've gone, that's boring.
Can I confess something about Will Ferrell? I don't find him that funny.
I can see what you mean.
Like, I just think he's a bit overrated. That's all.
I think Elf is overrated, but I think he's also had some funny movies.
Yeah,
I think the one film we did with Mark Wahlberg, not Daddy's Home. That was another the one before that, which was like I forget what
the other guys or something.
The Other Guys. That one's really good. That one's really.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's called The Other Guys. Yeah, well
Step Brothers is quite good as well.
Step Brothers is really good. Step Brothers is really good. Unless you're a weird guy. But apparently Step Brothers isn't really good. If you got his listening audio, Osian pulling a face like he's had a bit of weird fish at a restaurant. But yeah, or when your partner's mother does the cooking and you don't like it, but you want to make a good impression, so you just kind of sit there and do a half smirk. Yeah, that vibe. But I think at the end of the day, before we get into our bombs and our surprises, 2023 looks really good for movies, and also has been quite good for movies so far as well. We had some really good stuff come out. I think even we're not talking about like the super hits, we've still had some and under the radar stuff do quite well. And of course, Guardians has kind of blown everything out the water in terms of not only financially, but also it's doing quite well critically. I don't think our movie's done as well critically this year in terms of the big stage. I think a lot of the big movies have kind of flopped so far. Fast X is an outlier because it's doing a lot of great money for some reason. Sorry to all you family lovers out there. It's just not for me. Don't really get the vibe. But hey, look, if you love it, good for you. But yeah, I think it's in a really good place. I think this is the year we can say that cinema's kind of back, and we've kind of shaken off the pandemic.
COVID, yeah.
I think people kind of want to go back to the cinema now. I think beforehand you'd go and see the movies you really wanted to watch, and because back in the day, sometimes you'd have a bland afternoon, nothing planned. You look at what's on in cinema and you go, do you know what? I might go see that. I think we lost that aspect during
Yeah.
COVID, and you'd only go to see the films that you really want to see. That's why Spider-Man was an outlier, because everyone wanted to go see that because they were like, is Toby and Andrew in it? And
Yeah.
then they were, and everyone loved it, so they went back again and again and again. I know, I went 6 times.
Six.
I have to pre-warn you. A lot of people use me to go to cinema because I get a free ticket. I joke, they're all my friends. I don't. But
Oh,
like,
right.
yeah, the vibe was there for that, and kind of dipped for everything else. And I think with Avatar that did really well. Guardians
Top
is good.
Gun. It was Top Gun and Avatar that got
Top
people
Gun,
back. Yeah.
Guardians is now doing well. Like we've had 3 movies in the past 12 months. I think we can say 12 months. I think Top Gun came out like July. Is that right? So in the last 12 months, we had 3 movies that have done really, really well. And Guardians isn't even done yet with its run, which I think says a lot about how far that's going to go.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we can say cinema's back. But now, before we get on, I like to end on a positive note. So we're going to go to our surprise box office bomb. Or maybe it's not a surprise. Maybe we just think it's going to bomb. And since Adam gave away his answer, we'll go to him first with Oppenheimer. Now, I don't know the budget for this. So I don't know how much it needs to recoup to kind of.
Yes, I'm not so sure either. The reason that I have put Oppenheimer on this as box office bomb, I would say, is because, well, the movie's long, so I don't think you can get as many show times in terms of like having it, on rotation. So I reckon that could be difficult. It will probably be eclipsed because Mission Impossible's coming up quite close to it as well, and I think and Barbie, which I kind of think are more guaranteed to sort of entice people into the cinema, whether it's a fun action movie or Barbie, basically. I kind of feel like maybe the movies that are coming out around Oppenheimer might eclipse that. And yeah, I don't know if that many people around the sort of movie time will want to go see a movie like Oppenheimer. If it came out later in the year, I think it may fare a better chance, but I think maybe the release window that it's in, I'm not as confident in it. I know Nolan will make a fantastic film. I think that's also a little bit of a contrast. I think the movie will be good, and IMAX wise, it will probably do really well as well because Nolan loves that and creating, a fab IMAX picture. But yeah, I can't necessarily say it's an absolute guarantee to make too much money, and I kind of feel like maybe the other movies around it could eclipse it.
Yeah, to make budget back, it's got to make 200 million, which isn't bad for a Nolan picture. And I think that's the one thing that's got going for it is a lot of the film buffs will go see this one because it's Nolan. Also, I looked at the cast and I didn't even realize so many people in it. Like Robert Downey Jr. is in the movie. What? Rami Malek's in the movie? Huh? Jack Quaid's in the movie, who should be in a lot more things. He's fantastic. I'll just turn my camera off. He's fantastic.
Jack Quaid's in that film, is he?
Yeah, Jack Quaid's in the movie.
Wow.
He should be in more things. He's absolutely brilliant. So really happy for him. But no, Adam, I just think the Barbie aspect of it is the big one. I think an opening day is massive for a movie. And I think it competing with Barbie, which I think is going to be for a younger age group around the board. So families are going to go with their kids to see Barbie, and therefore if they're with their kids, they can't do the double bill. Or if you're only going to see one film, probably Barbie, because it's shorter. You can take your family with you. So I can actually see this one doing better. I can see this one doing better in the longer run. I don't think it will. I think it will have a more stable financial intake rather than like a big peak and then like most films do. I think this one could like trundle along.
Right.
You know what I mean? Does that make sense? I think this one, people will go see it eventually, and if the reviews are fantastic, then they'll probably go see it. But I don't see it like. I think don't be surprised if this one doesn't do too hot from the get-go and slowly recoups its money back. Because I don't think Adam as well. I don't think it's going to lose money either. I don't think you're expecting it to.
No.
But I think you're saying it's not going to make as much as potentially some people might think. Is that what you're saying here?
I think so. Yeah, as you're saying, Barbie is more family orientated. Mission Impossible, you're there for the more fun action movie kind of thing. Because Mission Impossible, I think, comes out almost a week before, but I still feel like in its run, it's going to do really well in that sort of summer period. Yeah.
Awesome. Right. Well, Ash, do you want to go with your bomb, or do you want to hand it over to me? What's the vibes? What you said?
Have we gone for the same one?
I don't know. We've not had any indication on this. So,
what is your one a part of the franchise?
It is part of the franchise. I'm
Is that
scared.
part of a franchise with Batman in it?
No.
Okay. Do you want me to go first?
Don't say yours is the Flash
know
because
what-
you're
yeah.
you're wrong. You're wrong if you say it is. Everyone's
No.
excited. Is it Blue Beetle?
I've gone for Aquaman 2,
Is that a thing?
which people don't know it's a thing.
Is that a thing?
Yeah. And you might go, Osian, why have you put Aquaman 2 on here when Aquaman 1 is actually the DCEU's biggest film box office they've made? And you go, oh, right. It's probably because no one knows this film's coming out at this end of the year. But also is the fact that the head of Warner Bros. Watched it and was like, I don't think people are going to like this. He's literally come out and said, I don't think this is going to do very well.
Great.
But also it's got it's just following a story. I don't know anything about the story. I think it's meant to tackle. I think that the plot of this film has kind of branched off into different ideas from what it was. Like it originally was like a story about Aquaman versus Black Manta, which people were really excited for, and then Jason Momoa wanted to turn it about global warming, which isn't a bad thing. If you want to do that, that's fine. And then it's kind of the plot's kind of all over the place at the moment, so I'm not really sure what it's going to follow. It also has Amber Heard in it, which obviously is a controversial figure. People wouldn't want to see a film with her. She doesn't have that part. She doesn't have that big of a part in this one, apparently. But even then, she will have screen time, which probably will put people off.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. The first Ant-Man, the first Aquaman was fine. It was
all right.
It was fine. Here's the thing with the DC movies coming out this year is that they're a bit bollocked by the fact that it's kind of getting reset. Do you want me to talk about My Bomb?
Yeah, go for it.
Now, when you said part of a franchise, I was like, oh, I've got the same one. I didn't. And then I saw that there's a new Transformers movie coming out this year.
Oh God,
Transformers.
That's coming out in a few weeks. That's like 10 weeks away or something.
And has anybody cared about Transformers since?
No.
Since Shia LaBeouf. The first one was good, and then the rest of them have been awful. Apparently, it's set in the Bumblebee universe. Great, that was actually a good movie because it had two really good people in it, in Hailey Steinfeld and John Cena, and neither of them are coming back for this one. Which I think either says a lot about the story and or the fact they just don't care anymore, which is fine. It's car movies and they blow up. But there's another movie that has cars and where shit blows up. At least the characters stay for the next ones. You know, like the issue is that Fast and Furious and Transformers are basically the same thing now. In a weird sense, they're both action movies with cars that go fast. And I'd rather watch family do it than CGI robots that I don't care for because they've been rebooted 17 times. Like, cool. This will probably I could just do a lot overseas, like in a lot of markets. I just don't see it doing well domestically. It's probably going to make its money back because a lot of people will probably go see it on a random Thursday afternoon because they got nothing better to do. But for me, no,
that's understandable.
I think the issue is that it's a really weird one, isn't it? It's like it's not linear anymore. Like I don't really know what's going on in them, and like even things like Fast and Furious, I get the plot of that, and I've not seen them all, but I know that Dom Toretto is this guy, and this is his family, his crew. With Transformers, I'm like, what's happening? There was dinosaurs in one of them. Mark Wahlberg was there, and now he's gone.
Yeah, he's not in them anymore.
Shia LaBeouf. What happened to Shia LaBeouf? I don't know. I don't think Michael Bay's back for this one. Don't get me wrong there.
He's producing it.
But that means that he didn't want to touch it with a stick.
Okay, probably.
I think if you drop down from director to producer, you've gone, you know what, I'm done with these, but I'll put my name to it so that if you want to, and if the new director does a good job, if anything, a new director could be a good opportunity for the franchise and they could refresh it. But
doesn't really need it. No.
I think the issue is that like Bumblebee was really not really good, but it was solid. And then you've not brought back the two characters that made it great. And that's no offense to the people that have made this movie. Like the director here, Stephen Campbell Jr., is quite good. He's done some good things. But I think this is just what has
he done?
He's done a bit of work on Creed 2. He's done a bit of work on Bumblebee stuff, so he's definitely in the universe.
Right.
But he's just I feel he directed Creed 2.
Did he?
Yeah, and that was a good
Oh,
movie. So you've got a good director there.
yeah.
But for me, just I don't know. It's like just let it go for a bit. Reboot it
Let
in like
it
10, 15
die.
years. But yeah, there's people positive now though. Are surprised of the year. Now this might be box office, or it might be quality wise or whatever. But surprise for the year. Adam, I'll let you go first. Have you gone first at all yet? This pod, so I'll let you. What's your surprise?
My surprise, box office wise, because I did say, I think Mission Impossible will make bank and will do really well. Surprise. Do you know what? I'm actually gonna, you know, I'm gonna do a sort of randomatron in my head. The Marvels.
Okay. Can I
I
just say as
think,
no? I'm actually buzzing for that movie. Like, not obviously to get in the top three, but like I think a lot of people are sleeping on that one. I think it'd be quite good.
Mm.
yeah, and I think pretty much for the reasons you say. I think the concept is really cool. You know, space movies seem to be working out pretty well for Marvel. For Guardians at least, we had a good space opera, and we sort of got this here I think with a you know that kind of earthbound kind of Miss Marvel funness to it. Yeah, I think it would be one of the pleasant surprise. I think just from the concept alone, I kind of think yeah, this would be a good surprise.
No, I get
Yeah,
what you mean.
I get what you mean. I think Zoe Ashton as well. Let's not forget she's brilliant. I think that's a lot of people as well that in the States don't know a lot about her and how good she is. I think she's brilliant. Obviously, for those of you that don't know who I'm talking about, she was in Doctor Who very briefly. She's in one episode Into the Dalek. She played Journey Blue, and she was
And she's in
fantastic
Fresh
in that.
Meat as well,
Oh,
isn't she?
She's in
One of
Fresh
the
Meat as well, which is a great university kind of comedy series. I would say Offshore Bears, I watch it, but our uni days are basically done.
yeah. I
So
know. I
that
have watched it. It's very good.
it's fun, isn't it? It's fun.
It's very good. Very good.
But yeah, no. Osh, I'm gonna go next. I want to see what your surprise
That's
is. I'm
fine. That's all
excited.
good.
Do you know what? We kind of mentioned it earlier on. My surprises is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. I'm actually buzzing for this, and not only because it looks good, and I'm not a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle fan by any means, because I think the property's kind of been a bit killed by our era. I think that like, the
Mm.
'90s was the peak, and it was really good, and everything subsequently has been a bit rubbish. But it's got Seth Rogen producing. Although I'm not a massive Seth Rogen guy, he's very good at taking a property and doing some bits with it. I know he had some involvement with the Jim and Dale movie that came out. This cast is phenomenal. Can I just read some of the names to you that I didn't even realize were in this movie? All right, just get excited, right? Okay, Rose Byrne, Paul Rudd, John Cena, Seth Rogen, Jackie Chan, Giancarlo Esposito. We're gonna go to Maya Rudolph, Ice Cube,
Oh my
Post
God.
Malone is in this movie. Post Malone has a voice role in this movie. If you don't get excited by that, I don't know what you will. It's got great directors in it as well. Like I said, it is written by Seth Rogen as well. They've actually got kids playing the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, so I think it's great. That's always a great thing. You've got the writers of Mitchell's versus the Machines, and that was a great
Mm.
Oh,
Netflix.
really?
Yeah, like
Oh, okay.
like this is my surprise hit of the year. Like, it would not surprise me if you see great reviews for this film. I could be wrong, and it could be incredibly mid. But like, this could be a Mitchell's versus a Machine kind of vibe where it wasn't on my radar beforehand, and then the reviews are so good that I didn't have to go see it. And that's coming from someone that isn't a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle fan by any means. I have no connection to the property, but this one, like also as well, the animation style looked great. The vibe seems fun. And sometimes in the summer, all you want is a good, fun movie, especially because you'd rather be outside. So it's got to be a good, fun time to kind of get you involved and get you to go watch it. So yeah, I agree. That's the one thing with Oppenheimer is I think it's kind of at the wrong time of the year. Like, why doesn't it
Mm.
come out in like October when you want to be
No,
inside and
no
for
idea.
3 hours? Do you know what I mean? Like, maybe does that make sense? Like, I
No,
think
I get
maybe
you.
it's mistimed the release
That's
date.
one of the reasons I put it as my bomb, to be honest.
Yeah, but Ash, what is your big surprise?
So I think that by the end of the year, I think that Mario will be the one that'll win the box office of the year because obviously it's killing it at the moment.
Yeah,
I think that it will just keep going.
now officially the highest grossing anime movie of all
Yeah.
time
So
domestically.
it'll probably win it this year. But I think the film that'll surprise her. I don't think it'll probably be. I think it'll be big in the UK, and obviously I think it will be big in America. But I think it's maybe targeting a more
Ooh.
UK fan base.
I think we know where we're going with this one.
But obviously, as some of you know, I'm a big fan of this 2 sequel franchise called Paddington. The director of that, Paul King, is making Wonka. Yes, a film that at first I was thinking, why the hell are they making a musical about Willy Wonka, his origin story? But then I look at the cast and I look at the people involved, and I'm like, do you know what? This is the most British thing, even though Timothy Chalamet's in it, I've ever seen. But I'm into it. I'm so into it.
It seems like pure vibes, which I know is weird to make a movie, but it just seems vibes. Like it seems like they went to the director, they went, "What do you want to do?" He's like, "I'll make a Willy Wonka movie. Screw it. Who am I going to get? I'll get Timothy Chalamet and just make the rest of it British." And do you know what I think as well? It just like it's one of those movies that you go to, and it's like this just seems like everyone making it was just like, "Yeah, we'll do that. We'll do this. Screw it. Why not?"
So
No, absolutely, you go.
Some of the cast, if you don't know already, some of the cast in this film sounds amazing. I don't know if some of them are confirmed here, but some of them aren't. So we've got Hugh Grant. So we obviously got Timothy Chalamet as Willy Wonka. Got Hugh Grant as an Oompa Loompa. So that's obviously already you're like, wow, this is going to be amazing. You've got Rowan Atkinson in the film. We've got Matthew Bainton, but the one that's in Ghosts and Horrible Histories. Matthew Bainton.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, you basically got a lot of the Horrible Histories cast. The ones that have been in Paddington as well. You got Simon Farnaby. I don't know his name properly. You've also got Olivia Colman's apparently meant to be in this film. You've got Matt Lucas as well.
Great.
Just a really great cast.
I go back to vibes. Like this just seems vibes. It just seems literally like the most weird and wacky cast. But also, like Timothy Chalamet is the other one out. But also, Timothy Chalamet is one of those people that lives up to the hype. Like you see Timothy Chalamet in a movie, and you're like, "Yep, that'll be great because he's great." He's kind of annoyingly good. Like, considering he's quite young still. I think he's like what 25.
There aren't many films he's done that aren't very good.
I think he's 20. At least he's good in them, even if they're not great.
Yeah, he's 27.
But he's still good. Like he's still so good.
Yeah,
we've got this rich kind of British and like contingent of actors. I mean, to name a few at that kind of age, you've got like Florence Pugh, Tom Holland, and Timothy Chalamet, all around the same age, and they're just killing it. That it's vibes, mate. I think it could be a good Christmas hit. I assume it will ramp up the Christmas. Like I see a lot of snow in the filming pictures where there's a Christmas segment.
A very Christmas segment. Yeah,
I like. We need some good Christmas movies. Like there's not been a good Christmas movie in a while. I don't think.
No.
There was that one on Apple TV last year with Ryan Reynolds and Will
Ferrell. Yeah,
that was quite good. Because this thing, like, people got on, you can't make a good Christmas song. You can't make a good Christmas movie anymore because people just watch the classics. Well, that's inherently not true. Arthur Christmas came out 10 years ago, and that's a banger. Klaus was a banger, and that was great. Like Christmas songs, Ed Sheeran had that tune a few years ago. That does bits every year now. Just make Christmas stuff good, and people will go and watch it, and not watch Home Alone for the 72nd time. Like. I agree with you, man. I think overall it's great. Also, shout out to the Meg 2. Jason Statham's taking on a shark again, boys. Why not?
You know what I think Wonka actually needs? It needs more cookies, and then it needs a cameo from Arnold Schwarzenegger to say,
"Put the cookie down." The most underrated Christmas film of all time, by the way. How people say it's a bad movie, I'll never know. Genuinely,
no, get you.
It's so good. It's so good. It's so like sometimes I think people watch movies and they don't know what a good bad movie is. Like a movie that is so kind of rubbish and cheesy that it becomes good, and that is Jingle All the Way. What a banger, and not a Deck the Halls, which I know Adam is not a fan of. Adam is not a fan.
Oh God, that's
Are you not a fan?
No, I don't know that movie.
To quickly wrap up this, should we name one movie this year that's come out that isn't Guardians 3? That we've all really liked. Should we do that?
Yeah.
I'd like to go first.
I really liked Tetris that came out on Apple TV. I suppose it's not.
That was good. No, it counts. It counts. It counts.
But it's a movie that came out in 2023, so I might as well. You sort of start off. It's sort of biographical biopic movie, and it's pretty cool. The genesis of the game and how everything happens, and then it becomes a nail-biting, on the edge Cold War thriller. And
Yeah,
I don't think the tones jar at
That's
all.
it.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's so good,
I've
man. It's
watched
so
it.
good. It's so good, man. It's so good.
because it's still, the tones don't jar. It keeps you on the edge of the seat. The acting's fantastic. It was an absolute surprise. And I knew Taron Egerton was gonna, be fantastic in the movie, because he's just a all-around great actor. Hopefully coming back for Kingsman 3 soon. So yeah, no, Tetris.
What about you, Osh?
I had two films that really surprised me this year. I mean, one film that didn't surprise me, that was John Wick 4. That was
Yeah.
definitely one of my favorite films of the year that I've seen. So
Quality.
good. The action's very, very good. I saw it day before Guardians as well. So there was 2 days where I was like, yes, these are two amazing films back to back. And I think the other one's Creed 3. I mean,
Ooh,
I haven't
shout.
I haven't watched many of the Rocky films, but I've seen all the Creed films. And even and this film didn't have Rocky, and it didn't really have anything to do with Rocky. It was a very Creed centric film.
But yeah, if you guys have enjoyed this, please do give a like, comment, and subscribe. You can follow Adam at beer_can_Batman on all social medias. Follow Oshan at Oshan GT, or is it .GT? What is it?
.GT, yeah, .GT.
Is that on Twitter? And do I even shout out TikTok anymore?
I don't use much Twitter, so I'll probably just
Is
say
TikTok
Instagram.
there? Is TikTok dead? Will it come
Yeah,
back? Will it come
maybe,
back? Will it
maybe
come
we'll
back?
see.
Please, need it to come back. There was nothing better than watching you do a rubbish review that I disagreed with. Also, your Lao Lao Crocodile one, when you got invaded by kids, that ruined your watchdog of Lao Lao Crocodile.
I'll never forget my experience watching La La Crocodile.
But I can't wait for another day, because if you've enjoyed this, you can follow me, Alex King_Dom. Follow the podcast at Timers Pod. We'll see you guys all next week for mine and Reese's review of The Flash. Until then, guys, take care. Bye bye. Don't dab. If you guys are listening audio, they're a bit of a dabbing. Bye, everyone. Have a good week.